They vanished without a sound. No final battle, no burning cities, no written farewell to history. One of the world's most advanced civilizations simply faded into dust, leaving behind a silence that has echoed for more than 4,000 years. This is the mystery of the Indus Valley Civilization, a society so sophisticated, so organized, and so ahead of its time that even modern urban planning still struggles to match the precision of its cities. Imagine walking through the ancient city of Mohenjo-Daro around 2500 BCE. Neatly laid out streets intersecting like a perfect grid, houses equipped with private wells and bathrooms, an elaborate drainage system running beneath the city like a hidden network of veins, and public baths that suggest not just cleanliness, but ritual, community, and culture. The people here were not crude or chaotic. They were engineers, architects, traders, craftspeople, and thinkers. They built cities measured by order, logic, and observation. Unlike Egypt and Mesopotamia, they did not glorify kings with towering statues or inscribed victories in stone. Their greatness was not shouted, it was lived. And yet, in the grand timeline of human civilization, they suddenly disappear. To this day, not a single named ruler, not a single deciphered text, and not a clear explanation exists for their decline. How does a civilization this advanced simply end? To uncover this, we must go back to the beginning. The Indus Valley Civilization flourished along the fertile plains of the Indus and the long-lost Saraswati River. Water was life, and these river systems provided everything: agriculture, trade routes, transportation, and fertile soil. Their cities, Harappa, Mohenjo-Daro, Dholavira, Lothal, Rakhigarhi, were connected not just geographically, but culturally and economically. Their trade networks reached into Mesopotamia, where ancient texts mention a land called Meluha, believed to be the Indus region. They exported beads, copper, pottery, precious stones, and art so refined that it still astonishes historians. Their artisans carved seals with animal symbols and a mysterious script that remains one of archaeology's most frustrating puzzles. Thousands of these seals have been found, yet not a single one has been deciphered. Their language is silent, their voices lost, their identity hidden behind symbols we cannot read. A civilization that mastered order left behind no explanation for its own disappearance. But history is not silent. It whispers through fragments, ruins, and clues buried in the earth. One theory suggests climate change. Geological studies show that around 2000 BCE, the Saraswati River began to dry up, possibly due to shifting monsoon patterns or tectonic movement that altered the river's flow. A civilization so dependent on water may have been forced to migrate, abandoning large cities and dispersing into smaller settlements. But if that were the case, why did their culture dissolve instead of relocating intact? Why does the craftsmanship, the writing system, and the city planning suddenly decline? Another theory points to tectonic earthquakes, disasters that could have destroyed cities, changed river courses, and caused mass instability. But natural disaster alone rarely wipes out an entire culture. Civilizations adapt, rebuild, recover. So what made the Indus different? Some believe disease played a role. Skeletons found in Mohenjo-Daro show signs of certain infections. If a widespread plague reached the densely populated city centers, it could have spread rapidly. But even then, why did no successor state rise from the survivors? And then there is the controversial Aryan invasion theory, once widely taught, now heavily debated. The idea claims Indo-Aryan tribes migrated into the region and overtook the Indus cities. But the evidence does not fully support this. There are no clear signs of warfare, no widespread destruction layers, no burnt palaces or collapsed defenses. The end of the Indus Valley was not violent, it was quiet, too quiet. So perhaps the real answer lies not in a single cause, but in many, a slow unraveling rather than a dramatic fall. As rivers dried and agriculture weakened, trade declined. Without trade, the cities lost purpose. As populations moved eastward toward the Ganges Plains, the cultural identity of the Indus may have blended into early Vedic culture, transforming rather than disappearing. In other words, maybe the civilization didn't die. Maybe it evolved. Yet the deeper we look, the more questions emerge. Why cannot we read their script? A civilization capable of such perfection surely kept records, laws, stories, trade accounts, religious beliefs. Where are they? Why did they leave no grand monuments, no kings, no dynasties carved into stone? Did they believe in anonymity, collective identity, a life without rulers? Some scholars suggest the Indus Valley was a remarkably egalitarian society. No palaces, no massive temples, no extravagant tombs. Their values may have been far different from the civilizations we usually study. Less focused on power, more focused on living in balance. If so, perhaps their fall was not the tragedy we imagine, but a transformation guided by necessity. But still, the mystery persists. Why did a society with advanced technology, vast trade networks, peaceful urban planning, and cultural unity leave behind no trace of conflict, collapse, or survival? Mohenjo-Daro today feels like a memory frozen in time, a city that thrived, then stopped. You can walk down its streets, climb its stairways, and touch the bricks that once formed homes. But you cannot hear its people. Their laughter, their language, their music, their stories. They are gone. Or perhaps not gone, but buried, waiting. Every year, archaeologists uncover new clues, lost cities beneath desert sands, dried riverbeds that once flowed with life, pottery fragments that speak through design instead of words. Maybe someday we will decode their script. Maybe someday we will understand their beliefs. Maybe someday we will map their migration, trace their descendants, and tell their story fully. Until then, the Indus Valley remains one of history's greatest mysteries. A reminder that human greatness does not guarantee permanence, and that even the brightest civilizations can fade without warning. But perhaps the most haunting thought of all is this: the people of the Indus Valley did not know they were living in a civilization destined to be lost. To them, their world was stable, thriving, eternal. And one day, it simply wasn't. The silence they left behind is not the absence of history, it's an invitation to search,